Hello, adventurers, and welcome back to the Legend of Kelamentura recap series. I adjust the mic slightly. Hello, guys, welcome back. How's it all going? Hope everyone's doing well. I'm doing well. Campaign's still going. Campaign still's doing well. So let's get right into it. So today we are recapping session 59. Oh yes, big 6-0 will be our next one, and it should be a good one based on what's happened in session 59. So, last we left off in 58, the party had begun the descent into Duath after, it being mentioned way back when Lorilla was part of the campaign and she left, oh boy, within the first 30 sessions, maybe the first 20 something. So yeah, been there for a while. Plot hook's just been dangling. But yes, the party decided to follow the leads and delve underneath, and we pick up from there as the party have completed in air quotes / bypassed the check / trap in the second chamber. Although we did the second because they found the hidden entrance, went down that hallway, found a trap room which had a riddle in it which they solved, and then went down to the second room where they were beginning to probe, down the various the various exits to the chamber to see which one was safe, and stumbled onto the right one. After doing that, the party kind of reconvened, gathered themselves up, and continued to trek on down. And so the guys, they're delving a serious depth. They're probably around 4 or 5 miles below the surface, so decently deep. And they emerge as parts of some of the tunnels are carved, some is natural, some is there are stone steps, like finished stone. And they eventually come out in a sort of finished stone room that is oval, almondy shaped, with a bunch of mirrors all over the walls, the ceilings, and at the far end there were 2 steel portcullises blocking the exit. And around the sides of the room, you could see there were parts that were doors. These were doors or places or corridors that were all blocked off with rockfall. And sticking out from underneath one of them was a skeletal arm who belonged to someone who had worked here during the collapse. So the party immediately went for speak with the dead, talked to the individual, and kind of realized that, this guy didn't know much, but he knew that someone had redecorated since he had been here. And give a few other tidbits of information, including that there would be some treasure or useful things potentially within the priest's chambers and the warden's quarters deeper within the city. So with that knowledge, the party then spent a good bit checking the mirrors, going around, doing a lot of I was trying to think of a reference. I've already forgotten what they're called. Anybody who grew up watching BBC, Sky TV, the 2 cleaning ladies that went around cleaning people's houses? Yeah, they did that routine. Cleaned all the mirrors. Tried to Indiana Jones it with light sources and stuff. Tried to figure out what the best way was. And eventually Bjorn says, fuck this, took his ruby out, put it in the dais. Was the storeroom with the aforementioned familiar dais in the room. Put that in, twisted it, and it locked. Now, prior to this, Lowe had done a detect magic and realized that all the mirrors had a sort of divination vibe to them and went, interesting. So as Bjorn activated the dais, a portcullis slammed down behind them, preventing them from leaving the chamber. And the mirrors pulsed into life, like an old CRT TV, I am dating myself so badly with this fucking recap. But yeah, anyone who's turned on a CRT TV from Standby, the pop, that. And Beholder appeared on the mirrors and introduced themselves as Okata the Plotter, and began to slightly taunt the party and probe as to what they were doing here and what are their intentions in Duath and what do they want to do and blah, 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 and kind of, probing and going, oh yeah, and kind of then alluded to the fact that, oh yes, but he recognized the party as, oh, you guys are the Scallybags, and the party went, how the fuck do you know who we are? And he says, oh, the merchant told me With the merchant? Oh, yeah, Doyle. And they all went, oh, shit. This guy works with Doyle. No, right, okay. Probably all silently thinking to themselves, okay, we're going to go kill a beholder then. But in the meantime, in the short term before they go off and kill the beholder, Dinesco kind of piped up, and Okada seemed to recognize them as Okada the Plotter has been around for a while. Beholders don't live terribly long. They're not like dragons, they don't live for hundreds or thousands of years. This one does, because, reasons. Sips coffee in Dungeon Master. So yeah, Dinesco kind of says, oh yeah, well, we're down here, and I have reason to believe that one of my comrades is down here. I was like, oh yeah, the soul weapon thing that you guys have going. Oh yeah. And one of my men has it. You know what? If you can make it to them, I'll arrange a one-on-one combat between you and the guy who has it. How does that sound? And they all went, all right, that's fair enough. At which point Okada opened the portcullises to let them into Duath, and the party ventured on in, realizing that they're going to have a fight in their hands at some point. But they carried on and ended up in the Grand Temple in Duath. And the temple, they realized, was to the Scourge Gods, or the Vanrar. Excuse me. Had a bit of inspection. Realized it's a pretty old temple, bunch of Scourge imagery around the place. While they were inspecting, Duchess realized that there was a bunch of, as I said, there had been a collapse in here, because there was a big battle here during the Purge with Urasil and Okada, and the Pure One's forces realized the best thing they could do was collapse. They created a collapse which destroyed a big old part of the city. They're now seeing the aftermath of the collapse, because the giant chunks of rock had fallen from the ceiling, were on the floor, like crushed pews and whatever else, and there's big old cracks in the ceiling. Realizing this place might not be stable, but while they were expecting, Duchess realized that there was an oil slick type thing on the ground between a couple of these boulders. And also, with a decently high perception check or survival check, was able to determine a safe path through the dust, because this place is dusty, but it has been trafficked. So figured out a safe way through into the next chamber, where the party went into enter a sort of just a side room to the temple, which is the side an antechamber into the priest's quarters. Like I said, it was kind of there was desks and stuff in here that was this might have been an admin reception type place. But stood in the middle of the chamber was this coppery gold statue, which definitely didn't like it belonged. It was a copper gold statue of a humanoid, some sort of elven individual who was and the quick way to realize this wasn't a statue, this was actually someone who'd been petrified, some sort of petrification, judging by the oh shit look on their face. And the person leaning out, hand outstretched towards under a desk somewhere, which they realized was they were outstretched towards some sort of enchanted flask, which Dinesco picked up on. This is some sort of alchemical flask, which very powerful restorative properties, aka this is a flask of greater restoration. So remove the stopper, dunked it over the head of the statue, and the statue, the copper gold coloring of the statue faded away, and revealed a new party member. Yes, we have a new party member. Good old Phoebe, who's a friend of mine from a Discord server that I'm a member of. Shout out to the Kieran Army for that one. So yeah, she's a friend of there. She's new to D&D, but she was like, you know what? I'll give it a go. So fair play to her. She's joined the party as Clarissa, or Clairvoyant, half-elf, half-elven, and half-elven, a wood elf artificer, who has a reputation for being a sort of a cat burglar, gentleman, thief, klepto type thing, which is kind of known to the party. It's talked about in cocktail parties. Oh, did you hear about the Johnsons had this pearl necklace stolen, or all this little bits and pieces like that. So party have got this new individual who's joined the team, and they went, all right, well, you're down here. And she was down here. She's a bit of a mag. Her pseudonym as this cat burglar is the Magpie. Because she was, she's a predilection for shiny things. And, the shiny things were her undoing because she had grabbed this shiny idol, which turned out to be cursed. And she'd been stuck here for a while, about 5 years. But having been saved by the party, says, okay, well, we're down here. You guys are down here for a reason. Our interests might align, so you know what? We'll temporarily form up as allies. Carry on from there. Party then went into the priest chambers, discovered a hidden trapdoor, which led into a small treasure room with a bunch of glass cases. In there, they found, what did they find? They found a ring of invisibility, a belt of returning, a belt of shadow storage, and a rod of mercurial form. Really nice swag. Acquired all of those with, they determined what they were between, arcana checks and realizing that there's actually fucking plaques on these glass display cases which contain the description of the item. Which someone finally asked, going, is there a plaque on these? And I said, funnily enough, they are. They're put here for display purposes. But with the items acquired, with the help from Clarissa with her all-purpose tool, which she used to pick the locks on the cases, goods acquired, party carried on their way from the priest chambers, and they ended up in the temple gardens, with Lo leading the way, kind of checking each door for sights, for sounds and sights and of anything nasty. When he got to the door, heard the sound of running water and also an insectoid clicking. So party bust down the doors and found themselves in combat with a bunch of Umber Hulks who actually managed to not do any real damage, but Umber Hulks are fun because they've a really... Anytime you're within 30 feet of one and you're looking at it, which the party wouldn't know not to, so big behind the curtain, guys. You learn that one. If you're within 30 feet of them, you have to make a wisdom save or you are confused and waste your turn. And I got most of the party. Lo and Dinesco saved, and that's about it. Everybody else was confused and wasted their turn, which just meant it was a target-rich environment for Lo. So all three of the creatures got pretty well, all four of them, three of the four Umber Hulks got pretty well smashed. With the fourth one deciding to flee because his friends had all been murked. But that's a fun little encounter in the party. Yeah. Between all the excitement with meeting Okada the Plotter and everything else, and the new party member, and the new loot, and beginning of the journey into Duath, that's everything that happened in session 59. But session 60, which will happen soonish, that's when the party get into Duath proper. And I've got some things planned that I'm really excited for the party to come across. But that's for future video, guys. Again, thank you all very much for watching and listening. And I'll see you all next time. Have a good one.